Hey everybody, welcome back to Panic Pixel. My name is Christine, and if you are new here, hello. Welcome. Like and subscribe. So we are back with another episode of Rating NOODZ, a series in which I eat instant noodles in front of you and rate it with a thumbs up, thumbs down, or a meh. So today we have a special little cup from Sanyo Foods. If you don't know what Sanyo Foods is, they're the same people who make Sapporo Ichiban, which, you know, has like multiple factories around the world. And yeah, so you probably know Sapporo Ichiban. So this cup over here, what makes it so special is that they specifically made this based off of a restaurant in Osaka. So this is the special cup for the restaurant Dotombori Imai. It is a pretty popular noodle restaurant. I think they do soba and udon. And they're located in a mall, if I'm not mistaken, a mall in the Dotonbori district in Osaka. So Dotonbori is like that place with all like the yummy food and stuff like that. I've actually been to Dotonbori, and I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but correct me if I'm wrong. I've actually been to Dotonbori like twice in my life. I've been to Osaka like maybe 2 to 3 times, I think. Now, I personally have not been to this specific restaurant. From what I've heard about it, though, is that while it is a pretty popular place to go to in the Dotonbori district, it's not exactly like the best noodle restaurant you could go to. I'm pretty sure like Dotonbori itself is like, you know, pretty commercialized. So that's why it's just like, oh, it's basically like almost like a tourist trap. So this cup specifically is not a ramen. It is a Kitsune Udon. So Kitsune is those little like tofu pocket things. I am quite curious to see how they've implemented it in this pack, because usually Kitsune is like huge squares. And it seems like from the picture over here, what they've done is kind of put it into like little squares like this. Because this is a special edition noodle, it's worth taking a look at the entire packaging because it's pretty unique. At the front over here, you can see that it says Dotombori Imai, and I assume this is the official logo that appears in front of the restaurant. So it's a very nice calligraphy, and if you don't know Japanese well enough, it's probably hard to read. I find that is the case for me with like Chinese calligraphy. If you turn this around, you can see a picture of the restaurant itself in the Dotonbori district, a bit of a description, and a QR code to get to the website. Other than that, there's the usual nutritional information. This sticker over here is a Hong Kong thing. If you don't know, in Hong Kong, we have regulations about food labeling, so it has to come in something that's understandable in Chinese and English, if I'm not mistaken. For this one, we have to put it in the water for 5 minutes according to the packaging. Other than that, we also have a little bit of a sauce or something that we have to put in. I think it's a... Okay, while I can't read what this exactly is at the moment, I can read from the instructions that you have to put it after you've left the noodles for 5 minutes. So we're gonna do that. I'll be right back. All right, and we are back. It has been 5 minutes, and I actually looked up what the packet says. It says finishing sachet, so I'm guessing it's some sort of either finishing oil or a finishing sauce. So I'm going to put that in. I'm not going to try and record that because that's kind of difficult to do. I don't want to spill like oil on my computer mat. So I kind of left it on the cup, so that it will warm up, so it's not like cold when I put it in. So we're just gonna put this in here. Kind of like, it tastes a little bit like dashi, like a fishy sauce. Kind of like a mix of a sauce and an oil at the same time. Now I don't know where to put this. I really should have a placemat when I do these videos. Alright, so I'm just gonna mix that in. Whee. So udon is made out of wheat flour, and it's supposed to be like really thick and stuff, and usually it doesn't absorb the soup as much as a ramen does because of just how it's made. But obviously in terms of like an instant noodles, it does have to like take in some of that soup. So I'm kind of curious how like they'll balance that whole like udon flavor with the whole like flavor of the soup and stuff. Another thing that's interesting about this is these little things over here, which brings the kitsune into the kitsune udon, the little tofu things. They started out really small and now they're actually pretty big for the size. So as you can see here, the little tofu thing is pretty much brown throughout, not like your usual tofu pocket in which there's like kind of like a difference between the skin and the inside. So here it's like pretty much the same thing throughout. So that's a pretty interesting thing that they've done. Obviously it's kind of hard to like use a typical tofu pocket for this. So we're just gonna try it out. All right. Itadakimasu. All right. So that tastes like the skin of the tofu pocket thing, except it's like the entire thing is the skin. And it's just trying to mimic the texture of a tofu pocket. But it doesn't completely get it right, but it's very close, which I think is already pretty good considering, you know, this is an instant version of the restaurant noodles. I quite like that. It's sweet. If you've never had a kitsune udon like tofu pocket before, they're pretty sweet, but like also savory at the same time. So we are going to try the udon here. So hopefully it hasn't gotten too soft since I've been kind of talking a lot since like it's been cooked. Oh my god. That is so good. That is so good. Man, that is so good. So the udon itself, of course, it has absorbed some of the soup because, you know, dried noodles need to get the water in order to like become nice like this. But it still maintains that kind of like wheat flour flavor to it. So usually with udon, it's a little bit different from ramen, in which ramen, the soup is expected to be absorbed by the noodles. So you have to kind of figure out how to integrate those two flavors together. Whereas for udon, it's like, it has to be like two separate things that just work well together. And this works really well together, and it's really good for an instant noodle cup. I'm enjoying this so much. But then again, I'm also very biased. Udon is my first love, and this just hits the spot. In terms of the texture of the noodles, it's still quite firm, but I wouldn't say like it's al dente. It's just like firm and it's still chewy, just like you'd expect udon to be. And also, it's really easy to slurp. That broth is so good. Let's try it on its own. So the broth is like, it's kind of this mixture of like, there's a mildness to it, but there's also a strength. So I think the mildness comes from like the base broth itself. It's a very mild kind of dashi, and then you mix it with that finishing oil that brings like this, almost like an aftertaste, I guess. I'm still working on my, on describing food better. Hopefully I'll get better throughout the series, but this is so satisfying. So other than the little kitsune toppings and stuff, we also have some little vegetables. These are like little onions, I think. Some dried onions. Let's have a taste. All right, so the onions, they still kind of have that dry feeling to it. They haven't really absorbed the water as well as the other ingredients. And I'd say that the flavor of these are a little bit lacking. I'd say they'd taste better if they were stronger in their flavor, because right now there's a lot of umami going on in this cup, but you kind of want to balance that with a little bit of freshness. But like, this isn't really hitting the spot in terms of like balancing that flavor out. But honestly, I don't really mind that because I just love the noodles so much and the rest of the ingredients and the soup base itself. But I think what would really make this perfect is if those vegetables themselves, maybe they could add a little bit more, or maybe they could just, if they could figure out a way to bring out that fresh flavor more so than they've done right now. So I'm not even halfway through this and it's already been like pretty fulfilling and it's pretty substantial. I think this would be okay for like lunch if you're looking for a light lunch. So would I recommend this Dotombori Imai Cup Kitsune Udon from Sanyo Foods? Yes! This is really, really good. Super suggested, especially if you are an udon lover like me. So that concludes the second episode of Rating NOODZ. If you like the series, be sure to tell me in the comments down below. And if you have any suggestions of certain noodles that you want me to try out, leave it in the comments again. If you haven't subscribed yet and are interested in seeing more of these episodes, feel free to hit that subscribe button and click that cute little bell for upload notifications. So once again, I am Christine from Panic Pixel. I hope you had a phenomenal day today. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye!